Hello folks, this is Solo speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is early footage from Set 12. We are on the release version. I am playing in a double up game with Antisocial Monkey, and we have coordinated our Dragon Feather Knight here. Antisocial Monkey's had this for a while. I was able to get it at the very end of Set 11 with some of the rewards that they were doing at the end of Set 11. Anyway though, enough about our little legends. In this particular game, we're going to be looking at the Warrior trait is played together with Clear Mind. Warrior, not a trait I expected to spend a lot of time playing, but it came together nicely in this game, and I ended up with a team that I was very happy with. All right, on the initial portals, all these initial portals are pretty decent. I was hoping we wouldn't get Prismatic Finale. There was only a couple people over there on the loaded carousels, but we're going to end up getting that. This was the set mechanic from set 8.5 where there were two item components on each carousel. It doesn't really have that much effect on the game. It largely just means that people have a better chance of getting best in slot items on their champions because you have more of a chance to get the specific component that you're looking for. But as I said, not hugely impactful on the game. And that's nice because we get a chance to just play Teamfight Tactics. So as I said, this is very early in Set 12. We actually played this on the day that the set was released, although I'm not going to put this up on YouTube until a little bit later because I have a bit of a backlog of videos. This always happens when I like the TFT sets, is I play more games and I get more footage, and then I have more games than I can get on YouTube where I don't enjoy the sets. I get situations where it's like I haven't played the game in a week or 2 weeks, and I'm like desperately trying to get a video up on YouTube just so I have something. Not that people watch these, they don't get a lot of views, but just for my own sake to get something up there. So I have nothing particular in mind to play right now. I really haven't seen much direction in terms of the stuff that's been popping out of my orbs. I mean, I have like a 2-star Seraphine, so sure, I'll put that on the board, but I don't really have much here, in all honesty. Like, I haven't really gotten any unit that's like a carry unit to play through. I guess I have like a Shyvana here who's useful if you're going to reroll for the shapeshifter boards that people are playing with. Cassiopeia and Syndra is one popular team composition at the moment, but I'm not seeing a ton of synergy in the various units that I'm playing right now. I just kind of have like random stuff, so I was kind of like, all right, the augment's going to come up. Maybe I can get a little bit more direction from my augment. I mean, I guess I can play shapeshifter frontline. I was actually trying to purchase that Jace and I couldn't get it. So I'm looking at the options here. I was like, I don't want the Ruden's Hurricane. You know what? Why don't I just take Clear Mind? I'll just grab this, and I'll just figure it out later. If there's no champions on your bench at the end of player combat, gain 3 XP. This has been around for a little while now. I think it's been around for quite a few sets. And it's, of course, an econ augment. And when you play this, you are just looking to econ up. So that's what I'm going to do here. I was able to make a 2-star Blitzcrank, and I'm going to send that over to Antisocial Monkey's board. So we'll go with that. And I'll just figure it out later. I don't really have much, but I'm just going to look to econ for right now. I actually don't think Clear Mind is very good for double up mode because one of the things you want to do in this game mode is you want to be able to send units over to your partner. You want to be able to hold units on your bench to send over to them. But I don't really want to do that in this game because I also want to get the Clear Mind benefit. So it's actually pretty lucky that I was able to hit the 2-star Blitzcrank and then instantly send it over to Antisocial Monkey. I also was going to try to reforge the sword here. I purchased the magnetic remover and the reforger. That only lasts for this round and then disappear at the end of the round. However, the combat had already started, so I wasn't able to do that. And now Zoe is a sword on her, but Zoe is not really doing anything. There's not much reason to be playing Zoe here. And in fact, I don't really actually care about this Zoe at all because I don't have any other witchcraft units or portal units or scholar units on there. So I don't really have a lot in that regard. The good news for us is ASM's actually been hitting really, really hard thus far. He decided he was going to re-roll some of the B units, the Honeymancers. I have a great Honeymancers game from the PBE if anyone wants to see the bees played. He's going to reroll for some of the Honeymancers, and he's also going to reroll for some Hunters. So he's going basically a Cogmaw-based team composition. Cogmaw is Honeymancer plus Hunters. So he's going to try to reroll for Hunters and Honeymancers on his board. But he already has 2-star Nunu and 2-star Blitzcrank over there on his board. That's going to be really strong for this early in the game to have that. So like, I definitely do not win this particular round, but he was able to win very quickly And he's going to come over here and join my board. And do the two of us actually have enough here? Well, it looks like we do. Seraphine's been getting some nice crits on her ultimate over there. So even though my board is not very good at the moment, really quite weak, Seraphine doesn't have either of her traits in. Doesn't have fairy trait in, doesn't have mage trait. I just have two 1-star shapeshifters with no items up on the front line. I might as well, I might as well take advantage of what I've got here. I'm also going to see these Akalis here. I was like, all right, well, you know what? That's 2 out of 3 Akalis. Maybe I'll just play this. I could look to just play another Akali. And then I see that there's an Elise over on ASM's board. And I was like, can you send me the Elise for Elise 2-star? And he's going to go ahead and do that. So there we go. There's 2-star Elise. And then now if I want, I can play another unit. So I was like, all right, I'll put another Akali on the board as well. This is something you can do when you're playing Clear Mind, is obviously you can't hold pairs on your bench. Normally you would hold paired units on your bench, so you could try to 2-star them. But with Clear Mind, you can just play multiple copies on the board at once. So you saw I played 2 Elises on the board for the last round, and now I'll just play 2 Akalis on the board. Now, obviously this means I do not have anywhere near as many traits on my team because I'm playing multiple copies of the same unit. Only one copy of the unit can provide their traits on the board. But by the same token, it does let me get closer to 2-starring these units. So my board actually did get a bit stronger there. I got the 2-star Elise, and I have these 2 Akalis over here, and one more Akali, and I've got a 2-star Akali to play through as well. So I don't really have much of anything. I just have random units, but I have managed to hit a couple 2-star units. And so I'm looking a little bit better in that regard too. I've already been able to hit level 9, or level 9, that would be something. I've already been able to hit level 5, and I'm just going to try to keep econing here, and we'll just go from there. Now, since I don't know what I want, I think I'm going to go ahead and just take the tank items. I'll take the Veigar, because Veigar's a 3 cost. And I'm just going to take tank items, because, as I said, I have no idea what, I'm going to be playing right now. Up to this point in time. And then suddenly I do know what I'm playing. I find a Gwen. I was like, oh my god, Gwen? Okay. Well, that's a 4-cost unit. Now all of a sudden I have direction because I've hit the Gwen at 2% odds. Gwen has warrior trait, and it turns out I actually have 2 out of 3 Akalis who also has warrior trait. So I was like, all right, well, let's ditch the Seraphine. Let's ditch the Veigar. And then I can put this other Akali on the board, and that way I can still maintain Clear Mind status. And we're going to be going into Warrior trait in this game, and that was my immediate plan. I was like, let's play around the Warrior trait in this game. So this is a trait that I didn't really expect to be playing. It's a melee trait for the most part, or I believe every Warrior unit is a melee unit, naturally. Let me just look on the cheat sheet quickly to make sure that that's true. Okay, yes, every single warrior unit is a melee unit, and they're mostly units at the medium cost tiers. So you have 2 2 costs, you have Neela and Akali. I have Akali on my board right now. And then you have Katarina at the 3 cost tier, and then 2 4 costs, Gwen and Fiora. In the current patch of the game where this is being played, Fiora is quite a strong unit. Most of the other warriors are not particularly strong, but Fiora is seen as being quite good. But I was like, okay, I can look to play 4 warriors, and I think that'll be pretty good. I already have the Gwen. Then I can play the Fiora, and that'll get me to 3 warriors. Of course, she's a 4 cost, so it's going to take a little while to find her. And then I can slot in one other warrior and figure out who that one wants to be, and I can kind of play synergies around that. So now we're looking to go into the warrior trait here. Obviously, having a Gwen on my board this early is really, really nice. Jode Gauntlet, also a good item on Gwen. She's kind of a melee. I guess she's not technically melee. Her range is 2. It's kind of unusual to have a unit with a range of 2. Most units are either 1 or like 3 or 4, but she has a range of 2. And the Jode Gauntlet's actually quite nice because it lets her ability crit, and then you just want to make her cast more often and get a little bit more tankiness. I think her recommended items are like the Jode Gauntlet plus blue buff, and then like give her some kind of tank item, whether that's like I don't know, something like Titan's Resolve is what I was thinking of. By the way, then I get lucky again. Remember, I can't hold units on the bench for Antisocial Monkey, but there's a Cogmaw conveniently in my store as the Sen comes up. So I was like, all right, perfect, here you go. And that makes 2-star Cogmaw for his board. All right, while we have a minion around here, let me go ahead and cover what the warrior trait actually does. By the way, I will not open these orbs because champions are going to pop out, and I don't want them to be on my bench. I want to get that extra XP. All right, warrior trait. Warriors gain Omnivamp and Damage Amp, which, by the way, the TFT interface has actually been updated in this set and now shows those. Omnivamp and Damage Amp. When warriors drop below 60% health, they gain double Damage Amp. So Warrior 2, which is what I have in right now, 10% Omnivamp. So that means all sources of damage, they heal 10% of that damage. And then 10% damage amp. That means 10% more damage from all sources. That doubles to 20% additional damage when they are below 60% health. So this is a trait. It makes sense that these would be melee units that you're playing for this trait because they get, as I said, they deal additional damage. They just get bonus damage, which increases as they get lower. And then they have innate healing as well. Excuse me, I had a tier and I didn't really have a ton of uses for the tier, so I'm going to go ahead and make Spear of Shojin. I'm not quite sure who that's going to go on, but it'll go on someone later on, and in a pinch it could also go on Gwen, although it's not a good Gwen item. It would increase the amount of mana she generates on her auto attack, so it's not terrible. As far as Gwen's own ability, let me read that for you here real quickly. She is a stacking unit over time in combat. Gwen's passive is every 2 casts, she gains a snip stack. Active dash and snip twice, plus once for every snip stack in a cone. First and last snips each deal magic damage. Other snips each deal small snip magic damage. So she stacks up every 2 casts, she gets an additional snip stack. And she dashes and uses it on her cast. She only has 40 mana, so that's why blue buff is quite good on her. Because, by the way, look how close that fight was. I barely managed to win that fight. But every time she gets 2 casts off, she gets an additional stack. So she gets stronger and stronger as the fight goes on. Now for our second augment, there's a couple different choices here. I do see that I have a sleight of hand here. Gain a Thief's Glove. Champions holding this gain health and attack speed. I'm going to take this, and I do like taking this when I'm playing in double up mode, especially because you have a chance to get multiple Thief's Gloves in double up. There's the gift round coming up towards the end of stage 3, and one of the options that's very common is Thief's Glove. I think it's there about 50% of the time. So anything that powers up your Thief's Gloves and makes them better tends to be pretty nice with this. So as I said, the units get additional 200 health and 20% extra attack speed. So it's just pretty nice to have in general. Then I'm going to get the Sen coming over from ASM, and he sends me a Bard, which I'm going to put on the board. It technically does make Sugarcraft trait, but I'm not really planning on playing Sugarcraft trait here. Because you kind of, if you want to go like vertical Sugarcraft, you have to get that in early and start stacking it out. This is a little too late for that. So I'll play the Bard. He does give, Sugarcraft trait does give some additional AD and AP to Gwen. This is mostly intended as a transition unit though, and I probably will move out of Bard and into a different unit later on. So anyway, here's another fight where I would almost certainly lose. Yeah, I would definitely going to lose that, but in comes ASM's board, which has been win streaking super hard. He's going to win this round for me and let my win streak keep going. Again, I'm playing super greedy. I want to be clear here. I'm playing incredibly greedy in this game, running clear mind with a team that doesn't really have that much. But I can do that because my partner is so strong. So I'm just deliberately leaning on my partner here. Now I'm starting to get some units that I do want to play. There's a Katarina here. Remember, I'm playing Warrior trait, and she also has the Warrior trait, so we'll grab that. Then there's also a Tom Kench. I would dearly like to be able to play this unit too. So I'm trying to think what I can do here. I'm like, okay, well, we'll level and put in the Katarina. And then I could potentially just play the Tom as well if I want to. I'm trying to think if I decided to do that. I think I ended up passing on the Tom. I could have just replaced my frontline. My frontline is just a 2-star Elise and a 1-star Shyvana, so it's not like I really have anything in terms of frontline. I'm not exactly sure what ideally would be played with Warrior frontline. One thing I could do is I could potentially play Shen. Shen is a Bastion unit, but he also has the Pyro trait, so I could, in theory, play that, and then I would get Pyro, which provides a stacking attack speed for the whole team. So I possibly could do that, and then look to play Bastion frontline. Could play like Taric Shen frontline. I think that would have been decent, but it's not a route that I ended up going in this game. I think if I had to play it again, I might try to do that. And then I could also potentially play into Diana later on, because she's the 5-cost Bastion. But I did not head down that route. Instead, I did kind of go a variant of that route. I was kind of looking to see if I could find Nasus, because Nasus also has the Pyro trait, and then I could get stacking attack speed. But that would mean, and I was already playing Shapeshifter, so I thought it made sense to head in that direction. Alrighty, now out of the options here, we have not lost yet, so of course we are last pick on the carousel. But look, Mordekaiser has 2 gloves. Remember, I have the thing that makes these gloves better. It gives the units additional health and additional attack speed. So I was like, alright, well, I'm just going to take this and make another Thief's Glove. We'll put it on somebody. I don't have a great target yet, but we can put it on someone. Maybe, I think I end up putting it on the Katarina here just because. So anyway, it's gift round time, and I'm happy to go ahead and send something to ASM. Let's see, I think he takes the component anvil, which is what people normally take with these options. Let's just see, yeah, component anvil there. And then look at this, I have a Callista on my board. I was like, is there any way I could play Callista on this board? I think maybe I can. I wouldn't mind putting her in just for fairy trait. I mean, she's a pretty good unit to have. So I was trying to figure out if I could just get this unit on the board somehow. Anyway, I decided, I was like, you know what, I don't actually care about Akali 2-star, so why don't I go ahead, I'll put the Callista on the board. I intended to transition out of this unit, but I just thought it would be useful to play this unit regardless. Callista is the 4-cost fairy unit, well, one of two. There's Callista and also Rakan. The biggest issue with her, though, is she's really not a very good unit without the right itemization. She can be quite strong if she has the right items, but she needs a Rage Blade. Without a Rage Blade, she just doesn't do enough damage. And then she also really, really, really wants Multi-Striker trait in so that she can get off multiple attacks. Multi-Striker it gives the units a chance to proc multiple attacks, and she kind of needs that. But even though she doesn't have that here, it's still going to work out okay, and I'm going to win that round without help. ASM was about to come in. We still have not lost this round. Still have not lost a round yet. And now we're looking pretty solid because I'm already level 7, about a third of the way to level 8. I have not lost a round yet. We've been printing insane amounts of money. Oh yeah, and it's the gift round. Well, guess what I get? Another Thief's Glove. Another Thief's Glove. I was like, all right, I'll put this on Akali because why not? We'll put it on Akali. I don't really have anyone else to put this on. I'm not close to the Akali 2-star just yet. And I also do have the send back up, but I don't have anything to send to ASM. So his board has been super duper strong thus far, but he hasn't quite managed to hit any of his 3-stars yet. I believe he's contested on some of these units. But he has carried us through the early game so hard that I'm hoping that now I'm almost to level 8. I can definitely be level 8 after the minion round. I'm hoping that he's just been enabled me to power level to 8 quickly, and then at level 8 I can start finding my remaining units. I really need to find Fiora. Once I find Fiora, I'll be able to play 4 warriors. And I've actually been sitting on like a bloodthirster the entire game. I've had this sword plus cloak just sitting here for like the last whole stage. I've just been waiting to put it on a Fiora when I can find her. So hopefully I'll find that unit, and I'll be able to get up to 4 warriors, and then I can figure out where to go from there. The Bard will be coming out, but there's a number of units I could play there. Like that could become like a Rise for Scholar trait. Oh wait, no, actually I would lose Scholar trait if I took out the Bard. But it could be a number of different things. Spear of Shojin's nicely flexible, and look what happens. Fiora just pops up in the store. I was like, okay. All right, game. Thank you for giving me the Fiora. So I go ahead and just level to put that on the board, and there we go. We'll do Bloodthirster. So again, an odd timing to put in the an odd timing to go to level 8 there. I could have potentially just sold the Bard and then just put the Fiora on the board. And in retrospect, I think I would have done that to not have to spend that much gold. But it's not actually going to cost that much econ because I should be back to 40 gold here by the end of this minion round. Okay, so I just need to sell these champions. Oh, I got to 39. I didn't quite get to the 40. Oh, wow. Almost got there. So it cost me a little more econ. But there's another Callista. And now I definitely want to roll down and start making a real board. There's a Tom Kench. I believe that ASM is playing Tom, so I think I potentially send that to him. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and make Edge of Night always good on melee carries for the Fiora. And then now I'm going to get sent another Gwen from over there. I do have the send up as well. I was going to send him the Tom, but he doesn't have bench space for it. So I am going to end up grabbing this. I think I'm just going to end up playing the Tom for right now. We'll go ahead and do this. And then I'm going to hang here. Now, note I am not getting the Clear Mind benefit for the moment, but that's to be expected. I need more time to get my board put together. I should have been rolling down there, but I just needed some more time to think about what the heck I was doing. So I definitely need to adjust my front line. But I am up to the 4 warriors right now, and like that's quite nice because I get a big boost both to the Omnivamp and also to the damage amplification by having 4 warriors in. And hey, for once, this is literally the first time in the entire game I am going over to ASM's board to help him out. So yes, again, he carried me all through the early game, but hopefully now I can start returning the favor. There it is, 18%, 18%, up from 10%, 10%. So it almost doubled the benefit from what I had. And now it's time for our augment, and look at this. Warrior Crown is one of the options. I can turn another unit into a warrior. Also gives me an Akali and a Hand of Justice. This is super critical because there are only 5 warrior units. You cannot play 6 warriors without a warrior crown. So the only unit I need is Neela, and oh, guess who's in my store? It's a Neela. I was like, oh my god, okay. Okay, I will happily take this. So we'll put Neela on the board. I'll put that Hand of Justice on Fiora. So now I have 6 warriors in. I don't really have a front line, so that's a bit of an issue, but I have 6 warriors in. So now I need to reconfigure some stuff. I'll go ahead and put that Spear of Shojin onto the Gwen. It's not a great item on her, but it's something. And I was like, all right, maybe I can play Wukong for some temporary frontline, but mostly I just need to roll this down and continue hitting units. So, and then I see there's a Melio there. I was like, geez, do I want to play Melio? He would get the fairy bonus. I'm not quite sure. Still need to figure it out. Melio doesn't quite fit the board. I'm not really doing that much magic damage. Gwen deals magic damage, and the Katarina deal magic damage, but most of the board is physical damage. Still, the real benefit is getting the 6 warrior in. 6 warrior is really, really nice. Of course, as soon as I make this trait, now I end up losing my first round of the game here. ASM not able to come in fast enough. Again, I just need to 2-star my board. I realize I'm not getting Clear Mind benefit here, but I need to roll this down. I need to hit my units. If I can start hitting some 2-stars. I am going to take this Animate Shop. This causes my shop to refresh every 2 seconds for a little while, so I'm going to definitely get some hits here in the store. So yeah, I mean, I got 2-star Fiora off that. I also finally found Nasus, who I'd been looking for. And then there's 2-star Wukong, and then there's a Briar here. I was like, okay. I'm 100% playing that. And the Animate Shop finally ran out. I was like, okay, so we're going to just switch into Shapeshifter frontline, and I think that's the way to go. So I'm going to put my tank items on the Nasus, and then I can put a Thief's Glove here on the Briar. So that really settled what kind of frontline I was going to be playing. And I do think it made sense to play Shapeshifter given what I had ended up seeing here. So I hit the 2-star Fiora there. I 2-starred Akali and Neela in the process. Do I have 2-star Katarina? I can't remember if I have that or not. By the way, there's ASM's board. He's getting close to some of his 3-stars. I have 2-star Katarina as well. But I have 2 out of 3 Callistas, 2 out of 3 Gwens. So I would love to hit just one of those units. And then the other problem is my frontline is still kind of terrible. But do I really need frontline with warriors? I just need them not to pull initial aggression, and then they can dance around and go from there. I mean, it would be nice to have 2-star Nasus, but I'm not sure I need the initial... I don't really need that much tanking on this board. All right, so once again, we're going to be last pick on the carousel. I'm actually 3rd pick because ASM still has not lost a round the entire game. The funny thing is his initial augment is one that gives him additional gold when he loses a round, but he has not lost a round the entire game. He thought he would be lost streaking, and he hasn't lost a round the whole game. So his first augment has literally done nothing because he's never lost a round. Alrighty, anyway, this is a great find on this carousel, though, because I get 2 things. Number 1, I get a Rod. So Rod plus Bow is going to go ahead and make Rage Blade. And then I also get a Camille on here as well. So Camille is the perfect last unit to play on this board because she's going to put Multi-Striker trait in play, and that's going to be absolutely fantastic for the Callista in particular. Also, I guess Akali. But, I mean, Camille's just a great unit in her own right, so I'm very happy to play this as my final unit on the board. But now the downside is I don't want to clear my bench, so like I'm going to just have to drop Clear Mind value and not get Clear Mind benefit because I don't want to lose this unit. This is a very valuable 5-cost unit. And I managed to 2-star the Gwen there as well, so I have 2-star Fiora, 2-star Gwen, 2-star Katarina, 2-star Neela, 2-star Akali on my 6 warrior board. So every single warrior is 2-starred except for the Callista, who's not a natural warrior anyway, but who I have turned into a warrior. And she's going to have 6 warrior and plus 3 multi-striker in when I get to level 9. So now I'm just going to get to level 9 and go from there. This board should be really strong. The only thing I need to do is improve my front line. My front line is still bad. I have a 1-star Nasus and a 1-star Briar, so I do need to improve that. But everything else is pretty set, and I think I can get to level 9 right around the end of the minion, maybe at the beginning of stage 5, maybe like one more round after that. Now, Briar does have a bonus trait, or her unique trait, excuse me, that is called Ravenous. And what you can do is you can spend player health to increase Briar's health. I believe that you sacrifice 3 health in the 1-player mode in exchange for giving her, what is it? I'm just lighting it. Use this on Briar for 250 health in exchange for 2 of your health. It's 3 health in single player. It's 2 health here in double up. So it's actually slightly more costly here in double up because you're essentially paying 4 health instead of paying 3 health, and it only applies to 1 board instead of 2 boards. But it does increase Briar's max HP. I mean, we're at 90 HP, and the other teams in the lobby are on 11, 11, and 12. So I was like, I think that's probably worthwhile to do. Anyway, I am going to lose this round because that person has 3-star Vagar in a mage board, and they're actually quite strong, but they're also level 80 gold, so they're not really going to get any stronger. And I think my board can get a good bit stronger from here. I need to 2-star the Callista, and then I need to 2-star my front line and get Camille in. And I think that'll be pretty effective there. We also would have won that fight, except all my warriors ran off to the right side of the board and they ignored Vagar. If they had gone to the left side and killed Vagar, we would have won that fight pretty easily. So I do drop another round. I'm still trying to help ASM hit his final remaining units. He's like 1 Blitzcrank off. I do think his board is falling off a little bit here because Hunters, I don't think, scale into the late game quite that well because so many of them are low cost. Like, a lot of the Hunters are 1, 2, and 3 cost units, so they don't scale quite as well into the late game. But I guess you could say the same thing about my board, too, to some extent, because I have a lot of medium cost units. By the way, getting a ridiculous amount of gold here. I was going to say a fair amount of medium cost units. All right, so this should be enough to get to level. 9. So I'll look to go ahead and do this. I'm also going to get a component from the first unit I kill. So let's do this. See if we can hit. There's another Camille. Can I get one more Camille for Camille 2? Also some Morganas, but neither of us are playing a board that can use that. All right, 2-star Nasus helps a good bit. And now I still have the chance to pull an item component here. So I was like, all right, I was looking actually for some more frontline, but I don't have that possibility. So I was like, you know what? We'll just adaptive helm. No, none of that stuff's gonna work. So I ended up deciding I would just go ahead and make a blue buff on Gwen. I think this is maybe a little bit too much mana generation on her, but at the same time, it's not terrible. Her mana cost is 40, so by putting a blue buff, it drops to 30, and then the Spear of Shojin means she generates 15 mana per auto, so now she casts every 2 autos. So it's not terrible. She does cast more frequently with this, but I do think her itemization could have been a little bit better. I think you ideally do not want the Spear of Shojin. You want the blue plus the Jeweled Gauntlet plus something else. But yeah, I mean, I had that Spear of Shojin from the beginning of the game, and I didn't really have anything to do with it, so I did the best that I could. But yeah, I mean, we're looking good. And then there is the Callista, so just like that, I've 2-starred everything except the Camille, and I have 2 out of 3 Camilles. So I think my board has gotten about as strong as it can get at this point. The 6 warrior, I mean, now the way that you could make this board stronger, if you really wanted to go late game min max, is it would be to drop the weaker units, drop the Akali, drop the Neela, and then play more 5 costs. And like that is the way that I could cap out this board a little bit higher. I also am going to get a Briar Sen from ASM, so that's nice. Obviously, I need one more Briar, I need one more Camille, and then I have 2-star versions of both, so I'm pretty close to hitting them. But by the same token, we're also getting pretty close to the end of the game here. We're still on 78 HP, and like my board is really strong. Remember, at Warrior 8 or Warrior 6, these units get, what is it, 25% damage amp and 25% omnivamp, and then the damage amp doubles when they drop low on health. So like 50% damage amp. That's pretty nice. So yeah, we cut through this team, and that's actually the end of the game. Just like that. A very, very short game. Over on stage 5, too. Unfortunately, ASM lost the last round of the game. He had never lost a round the entire game, and then he lost the final round. So, you almost had the perfect game there. Still, he was a tremendous teammate in this game. As I said, he carried my board all through the early game when I was playing super duper greedy. And then that allowed me to just rush to level 8, rush to level 9, get in my key units, and yeah, I mean, I pretty much had 2-starred everything at the end of the game except those 5 costs. So short little game here, little example of the warrior trait. It's not going to be this easy every time, but it was an easy game this time, and yeah, 6 warriors, pretty good. Anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, take care folks, I'll see you again soon.